Well, hi there, and welcome back to another episode of the All Around Growth Podcast. My name is Rob Kaiser, and I am your host. Today is Tuesday, November 29th, 2022. And this is episode number 474 of a show where you join me with my family on our small farm and homestead, where we talk about the 5 W's and how as we grow all around here on the homestead at York Meadow Farm. And today we're not really going to talk so much about the 5 W's and how and growth and all of that. We're really going to talk about decompressing after the holidays. This is going to be a bit more of a casual show, so be prepared for something less formal than usual. And yes, there will likely be some proverbial gum flapping and a bunch of nonsense in today's show, but more on that in a moment. Just want to mention the sponsor real quick before going any further. And today we have Food Forest Farms sponsoring the show, supporting the show with video and streaming in this case. And on the regular, we've also got new videos being added to the YouTube channel in addition to these live streams and, everything else that's being uploaded. So, check it out. YouTube.com/@allaroundgrowth. YouTube handles lately the implementation of these has made utilization of YouTube a little bit easier. And that's cool for all of us nerds out there. So go ahead, do the thing, subscribe to the channel, like the videos, hit that notification bell, do all the things that all the people say to me and help this show grow on a new platform because why not? Let's all do new stuff. And there's been some encouragement to do so. So I wanted to take advantage of the opportunity. And here we are. So many thanks to Food Forest Farms for the opportunity to do so. And you may be wondering who Food Forest, easy for me to say, who Food Forest Farms is. Food Forest Farms is a locally owned and operated, beyond organic, bio-intensive city farm, coffee roaster, and more. All right. Check it out. foodforestfarms.com. Check out everything that's going on there for, I guess one could say, enhanced coffee and life experiences, because there's an event coming up in 2023 that you want to check out as well, and that is the Squatch Fest. So you can learn more about, excellent coffee and the Squatch Fest at foodforestfarms.com. All right. So let's talk about this casual gum flapping show, shall we? I think we're going to talk about it as a casual gum flapping show because this is actually a last minute live stream. And this is kind of an experimental show in preparation for the other live stream, the planned live stream on Friday. So that is coming up at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And on Friday, we are going to talk about how to get paid to walk in the woods and travel. I think for those that, I'm not sure. Some of the life experiences that I've had, that I've created, that I've made, I guess, have resulted in some pretty unique and cool opportunities. And I think that's good fodder for conversation and content in the podcast. And I literally spent several years of my life getting paid to walk in the woods and travel. And looking back, I realize now that if I'd have done the same thing with a different approach, instead of renting an apartment at the same time and doing all of this, I really could have made bank. And had I invested properly, I'd be at a that you might be interested in. So check out the live stream on Friday, which will be how to get paid to walk into the woods and travel. All right. So one of the things that I guess we can do to provide a little bit of talking points for today's show is simply, we're going to talk about how to decompress after Thanksgiving. And yeah, it's going to be a bit of a casual show, relaxed show, a little bit of gum flapping, so to speak. And I just figured I'd share with you, and I've talked about this before, how I oftentimes source content for a show. I'll just go to pre-search, type in Thanksgiving decompression. And in this case, what I was really doing was looking for an image on something about Thanksgiving decompression. And none of this really seemed appropriate, but I saw a picture of somewhere. Oh, it was actually right here in this article that I'll get to. Feet kicked up on a couch. And I wanted to save this image and then, do what I do for the thumbnail, but I couldn't do it on this. So anyways, that was a good idea. And inevitably, most of the imagery I use for the thumbnails comes from Unsplash, royalty-free images. And I ended up stumbling across this one. So here's the image for today's show. This is from Irina here on Unsplash. So, shout out to her. I'll actually share this in, I'll share that later. But, check out Unsplash for cool photos. It's a great way to obtain images for your content. So, Thanksgiving was pretty intense and for a lot of us. And, here we are the week after, recuperating, trying to get back into the swing of things because we're going to do it all over again here in just a few weeks with Christmas right around the corner. So, when we look at Thanksgiving decompression here on pre-search, we've got a number of articles, but the first one that comes up is an article titled How to Decompress After Thanksgiving by Radius Staffing Solutions. And that got me thinking too about staffing and who's busy during the holidays, because this is a busy time of year and a lot of people work seasonally. But, before we get into that, let's just touch on some points from Radius here on how to decompress after Thanksgiving. A lot of us eat too much, and there's some tips in here about bloating and, what you can do if you're sore. Like, for example, Uncle Rob here, playing with 3 kids at once. Not that I was sore, but I was a little more tired than usual. And sometimes, this article might be applicable to those of us across all demographics and ages, and how to deal with, how we feel with regard to how much we ate, how we feel with regard to, our body and how sore we are and how exhausted we might be. So, check out this article. I'll link to this in the, I'll begin engaging with the audience here on StreamYard, because this is what a good content creator does. And I'm trying to do better at this, and I'm going to need to, learn how to engage with this platform a little bit better. So this is a last minute live stream, and there's not a whole lot of people out there. We've got a couple people watching, but anyways, yeah, check out this article from Radius Staffing Solutions, and read up on some tips yourself on how to decompress after Thanksgiving. I'll tell you what am I doing to decompress after Thanksgiving? Well, in yesterday's show, I talked about how I realized that last week, this week was someone's decompressing after Thanksgiving. I don't know if you guys heard that, but big snore, from Toby back there. I realized that this is the busiest week of the year, most likely for me. And I kind of got to thinking, who else is busy out there? And a lot of us are decompressing from Thanksgiving, but on the other hand, a lot of us out there are also trying to decompress from Thanksgiving, but also stressed because we're already getting into peak season. And those people might be those of you working out there in warehouses, shipping and receiving, UPS, people picking orders, packing orders, everyone in assembly lines and machine operators, people out there in retail, whether it's behind the scenes doing inventory or doing assembly work and stuff like that, or actually interacting with people. I'm sure hospitality is busy right now. Soon to be busier, and especially those working in venues, hosting events, service industry. It's one thing to think about decompressing after the holidays, but then a lot of us are really ramping up for something that's going to be crazy busy. So, what do you do? What do you do to relax and decompress when there's no time? Well, we all find a way to relax and decompress somehow, right? Whether it's like grabbing a quick snack on the way home, something to make us feel good, or when we get home, we sit down with a beer, or do the same thing. Just have a snack when we sit down, or maybe play some games, video games, or check in on social media, or I'm thinking of all of these things outside of direct interaction with our families, right? Because a lot of us spend some time during the day, even at our busiest, doing something to decompress, right? So when we get busy, when we get really busy, when life comes at us with a lot, I think what we need to do in terms of this decompression, if you will, it's more about finding balance in life and learning how to best decompress in a way that's provides maybe the best maximum return. Because when we've got a million things going on, first and foremost, it's hard to figure out how to balance all of this, to even know where to start. And a lot of us, when we get to that point, we don't do anything. And then then that becomes problematic, because we're already stressed out about all the things that we have to do, but we get overwhelmed and we don't know where to start. And then we go into analysis paralysis, and oftentimes don't end up doing anything except losing ourselves in something that may not be the most productive thing, but you know what I'm talking about. So, there's a time to decompress, and there's also a time to focus on the work that we need to do. But how? All right. Are you guys familiar with the Pomodoro technique? I'm curious if anybody out there listening is familiar with the Pomodoro technique. And if so, feel free, because this is a live stream. For those of you who are in the podcast land, I wanted to preface this with the fact that it is a bit more casual and a little less formal than most episodes, because I will be talking like this and interacting with the audience a bit. But I've found the Pomodoro technique to be a wildly someone out there is not familiar with the Pomodoro technique. All right, so let's do something here. Let's go ahead and look at what Christ, easy for me to say, right? What the Pomodoro technique is. So I'm going to share my screen here, and again, we'll look at, because I can riff on this time management tool. But while I pull this up, it's a time management tool that is something that I've used for probably a decade now, and it is a time management method that was developed by Francesco Cirillo in the late 1980s. And this says it uses a kitchen timer to break work into intervals, and that's cool. There's a myriad number of apps. One that I use is PomoFocus.io. I'll just show that to you without going through my myriad number of tasks, but what this allows you to do is, create all sorts of stuff. It's free. It's web-based or browser-based rather. And the whole deal of this time management technique is, I guess this is the tomato timer that he sells, but this is it at its core. You work in 25-minute blocks, and then you take a 5-minute break. 25 minutes worth of work, 5-minute break. 25 minutes worth of work, 5-minute break, 25 minutes worth of work, and then a 15-minute break. So you do 3 5-minute breaks and then 1 15-minute longer break. And the idea behind this is you do focused work on a task for 25 minutes. And I understand that this technique may not be applicable for people who are, working outdoors or in a retail setting or in the service industry or in a warehouse or whatever. But, for those of us who work at home or work in an office and are oftentimes independently managed or something, and we've got a lot to balance, this is a good way to approach the different things that we've got to do, because in 25 minutes, you can actually get a lot of work done. And if you break this up over the course of the day, you can make considerable amounts of progress by chipping away at each of these various things that you are working on. So you can learn more about the Pomodoro technique, here at franciscocirillo.com, the Pomodoro technique, but just search for Pomodoro technique in your search engine of choice. I like free search because it's, unbiased with its search results, compounded with Proton VPN down here. It is a good and effective way to obtain unbiased search results. So check out the Pomodoro technique for time management, tools. And I guess I bring that up because, like I said, that is one way to find balance and make progress on all the things that we've got to do. And, and there's a lot to do. So how does this factor into Thanksgiving decompression? Well, I guess, like I said, some of us are decompressing after the holidays, after Thanksgiving, while some of us are ramping up and getting ready to go into the busy season. Despite the busiest times of year, we all take time to decompress at some time during the day, during the week, or whatever. And during the busiest, it's important to find, to optimize the ways in which we decompress and do what's healthy for us. So balancing our time may involve not doing certain things for a certain period of time and focusing on other things. Like, I don't know, for example, instead of spending that 25 minutes after dinner watching YouTube videos and chilling out, what if, before working on your project in the evening before bed, what if you spent 25 minutes stretching before dinner and then immediately afterwards got to work? You know what I'm saying? There's different ways to think about approaching how we spend our time. And I'm not just how we spend our time. Yeah, it's exactly how we spend our time. And ultimately how we spend our time, the behaviors that we engage in, so on and so forth. And as I think about this whole decompressing from Thanksgiving, I'm thinking about, how to, how to modify, how to change, how to adjust what I'm doing and how I'm doing it, because as I work on things, because right now there's a bit of or over the past couple of, I want to say there's a bit of a lull, even though last week was the busiest week of the year. It seems like there's a bit of a lull in the fact that there's less markets than usual. So, yet I'm trying to get caught up and stay focused and think ahead. And I'm personally realizing that even though it's slower, projecting ahead and thinking ahead leads me to think, oh, I've got to catch up on this now. I've got to do this. And like I said, there's a lot of things to do. There's a lot to, there's just a lot going on in life. So, yeah, Pomodoro technique, the goal setting guide. Those are two key tools to really not only decompress after Thanksgiving, but decompress after just decompress in general. And I would encourage you guys to check that out. So that's about it in terms of decompression after Thanksgiving. I know we kind of went all over the place today, but that's part of the decompression after the holidays, is trying to get ourselves back on track and back into the swing of things, and prepare for what's coming up, because no matter where we are, no matter what we're doing in life, no matter what we're working, we're all unique and different in terms of who we are and the lives we live. But what we all have in common is the fact that most of us just spent the holiday with our families. Most of us are trying to decompress from that. Most of us are also trying to balance everything that's going on in our lives, our careers, our families. It's tough. So to get a good handle on all of this, I'm going to conclude with working through the goal setting guide at any time of year, which gives you the structure and framework to look at your life in a compartmentalized way, so that you can see your life in terms of the physical aspect, the financial aspect, your family, personal development, your spiritual life, your social life, your career, and how all of those things mesh together, and how we can ultimately find balance by looking at all of those aspects in life 3 years out, 1 year out, and ultimately things that we can do today in order to make progress in those 7 different aspects of life to find balance. And one way that we can do that in terms of effectively managing our time is with the Pomodoro technique. All right. So I'll have links to this in the description below. And I will also have links in the show notes for those of you who are listening to this in audio form via the podcast. So what do we have coming up in terms of the remainder of the week? We've got a episode tomorrow, Wednesday. where we're going to touch on the spiritual aspect of life. We're going to, and this was actually kind of a family oriented episode because Thanksgiving is a family holiday. So we're still talking about topics in these 7 different aspects of life that I just mentioned. Family today with Thanksgiving decompression. We've got spiritual tomorrow, where we're going to talk about 365 Tao. We're going to read something from that book and talk freely about it in a manner similar to today, but we won't be live streaming, so it will sound a little bit more formal and will be a little bit more concise and shorter. Thursday, we're going to do the same thing, talk about the social area of life, and we're just going to talk about fraternal organizations in general. We're going to learn about various fraternal organizations, what they are, the history of them, what's up with that, what does that mean, and certainly including but not limited to the Oddfellows, of which I am a member. And then Friday, like I said previously, we're going to do the live stream on how to get paid to walk in the woods and travel. All right. So with that, guys, I appreciate you watching. I appreciate you listening. And I look forward to tomorrow's episode, where we return to the 365 Tao by Deng Ming Dao, a great book that I highly recommend, and one that's been a part of my life for probably 20 years now. So I've always enjoyed sharing that with you in the past, and I most certainly look forward to doing that tomorrow. Guys, I hope you have a wonderful day today. Thanks again for listening. And in the words of my old friend Sean, rest in peace, I forget exactly how he framed it, but he always promoted random acts of kindness. And I don't really know how to do that, except maybe just encouraging you to think about that and be kind to someone, because you never know when that simple act may have a profound impact on them and actually change their life. And that can make a difference. So anyways, have a wonderful day, guys. This is Rob Kaiser, and thank you.